We all go a little mad.
Forget you.
Here's Johnny.
I'm Yutaka, and this is Liam. We're with the Horror Hour, and yes, and we're here just interviewing two of the finalists, Saint and Dahli. How are you all today?
Fantastic.
Doing wonderful. How are you?
Nervous.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you scared we're gonna hijack the podcast? Like, okay, now you answer questions.
Well, I saw Sigourney last night, so
Okay.
she's here in St. Louis, so I was really excited.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hopefully, Hard Candy brings you all here.
I'll see you in the spring.
So, Liam, I'll let you start off with the first question.
Yes. So to start off, I want to ask a messy question because that's how I am. So I want to know which one of you has spent this whole time just clutching some pearls in your pocket, ready for a showgirls moment at any point.
Oh, 100% me. I'm like, I love everybody. Stab.
She did. She did grease the runway a few times. She tried it.
Best way to do it.
All right.
And then, well, I'm curious. So with all the looks that you all have put out in the episodes that have aired, are there any looks you wish you could redo?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, same.
All of them were like a labor of love to some degree or another. And there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in all of those. And I'm not willing to go through that again.
Yeah. I'm really looking back at this experience. I was like, wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Nice.
Except for I would have maybe dressed up as a cow. That looks like fun. I love the cow.
Honestly, like, let's rephrase that question. I'm hijacking the podcast.
Were
there any looks that I love this season? I love the cow. I love Dolly's troll. The troll was so good. I really loved Hoso's demon look. I just thought it was so cute and clever. Sigourney's hairy monster was just so like fun. Like I don't know, it was just like when you think of hairy monsters and you think of Sigourney, I was like, oh come on, this is a layup. That's definitely what she would have done. That's so good.
Good.
I like Boulet's hair. That for hairy monsters, that was so kind. Like
His background. He's obviously a fan of it.
yeah. At one point when they were sitting there in the judges panel, because the hair was so long, Swan just like a fist comes out and then a fan cracks.
Absolutely love
But at least
that.
you could hide everything up in there.
Right, exactly.
It's like, you're exterminating. Shoots one of us. Draws head back into the hair.
Great. So obviously, because of how successful season 4 is, obviously we got the announcement that obviously season 5's greenlit, ready to go. Is there anything you would like to see in the next season? Is there any type of specific drag that you think you would love to see highlighted more?
I'll probably be there because I've been on the last 3 things. So I will let you know when that day comes. I'll be like, yeah, this season could have had a little bit more. Like, no. I would love to see I would like to see even more diversity. I think that's part of the magic of this season, was there was so many different like likable, like relatable faces.
Yeah.
and I feel like because of this season being so diverse, I feel like there are going to be so many people who are able to see themselves and all of us and want to be part of that. And I'm looking forward to that part.
Oh, totally. I feel like a lot of like what was happening on this season is like setting a bar in a different way for like future contestants to like, to see that this isn't made like specifically for one kind of drag. I know like alternative drag is kind of like an umbrella term. It's just, whatever isn't featured on VH1. So
It's true.
Don't
I
forget
get where you're
now
going with
Paramount
that.
Plus.
Yeah.
that's like how it's like referred to, and it's I don't really like to label anything, but yeah, I guess it's an alternative to what we're used to seeing. But I'm glad that like even underneath that like umbrella term, it's just like still so many like little like nooks and crannies and like subgenres, and I think this season did like a really amazing job of like representing all those little tiny spaces, because we can make those spaces even bigger.
Yeah. I remember right before we were going to go film, I had did a gig in El Paso, Texas, and I was there with all these with this like this group of people, and they were just like, "Ugh, I would love to see some like badass Latina representation on this season."
They
So
got it.
like, yeah, and then like when Zabaleta came in, I was just like, I'm so happy like this community gets to see themselves in her for like this season. So like I just think that's like really important for just like the queer community.
Totally.
That's been one of the things that I've been so excited to see, that so many have brought their culture into their looks this season. But I mean, I know I say I'm biased because I'm Asian and there's Hoso, so but
No,
I
be
think
biased. I think that's like important, and I
It's okay to
be
have an
biased.
opinion.
Yeah, be
But
biased. It's totally fine for you to. I feel like,
but I
that's,
do
like,
think that this is some of the, I mean, this is the strongest top four, and I think you all represent so much quality drag. But I would like to know then also what, looking back on this season, because I can think of one of my favorite moments, even though it's a little messy but still quite humorous. Dahli, you breaking the fourth wall, or the way they edit it, when you're like, and let's see how we got here today. I love that. So I would like to know, what's one of either of yours favorite moment when you look back as you've watched the episodes?
Saint, do you want to start while I revel on this for a moment?
I think my favorite moment from the season was probably the Last Supper, and like how because there's so many moments when we're filming where we're like, the cameras were rolling, or like when moments aren't super high tension, or you don't feel like you even mildly have to be on. So I just felt like the Last Supper was just such a perfect moment, because you had those moments where we were just like, no idea the cameras are rolling, we're just like being ourselves, and like you have like Jade and Betty like talking about the argument, like where they're just like, now we get to look at it, it wasn't that bad, I love you, girl, I love you too. And you have like Mary twerking on Israel, and you have us all like, can I get y'all anything? And we're like, alcohol. And then even like the Boulets sitting there, and they're just like, I don't want to have shoes on. And Drac is like, you're just sitting there with your legs crooked to the side. Like, just like all of that is like what drag is, like us, like that's what it's like going to just a gig.
True. Relatable. I guess like some of my favorite moments, I've been talking about it, I feel like, forever now. But the clown carts was just like such a highlight of the entire season. It was like such a high pressured situation, because they're like deciding who's going to move forward, but it was almost like impossible not to be like living in that moment, because it was so much fun. And we got to like see like previous contestants that went home early and everything. So it was like really kind of like a family gathering, like the Derby.
Yes. It was, it was a shocking storyline though, about your clown fantasy. I loved it. And then the candy corn as well. And then the way they edited it, just you and Saint looking at each other. I'm like, oh, This is great. This is
It's
wonderful.
true. I put on that makeup for Dolly that day. I was just gonna. I was just like, you know what?
You
I'm
wouldn't stop
gonna-
staring at me.
Love it. No, Leah. Oh,
Yutaka?
oh, I guess I'll just keep asking questions. I
Yeah.
always, as Saint's been saying, I always hijack the questions just because I just do. All right. Well, let's have some. I'm curious. Who was the shadiest this season?
In like a really bad way or like a good way?
A good way.
I think
A good shady.
I think
Yeah.
Zava probably brings my favorite brand of shade. Just because she's so quick.
Yes.
Like she is like on her toes, like ready to like come back with anything. For the episode I wasn't even there for, when her and Saint are like, you know, going back and forth and stuff. It was just so funny. I was like, oh damn. She's fiery. I like that. As far as like problematic shade, I really do love the fighting between like Jade and like Betty. I still don't know what they were fighting about. So like that's kind of like my favorite because it seems like nonsense.
Same as two people who were there. I still don't. We still like to this day. That is
We
a
still
mystery.
don't. I was just like, why y'all fighting? I thought y'all was French fries and they ate. Not friends. Couldn't tell.
I
I mean, as viewers, we couldn't tell either. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Zava's quick,
but it was
I
fun.
mean, Zava called us out, and so
Did she burn you?
yeah. But then we had her on, and we had a really. It was an understanding because obviously the way some things are edited, or I would say in the first few episodes, you don't get to know somebody, so you're kind of going off what you're seeing in terms of what you may perceive as attitude. But it was very interesting.
Well, it's hard to like focus on one at a time. So
Yeah.
you get it.
Yeah. And to be fair, she didn't call us out. She called me out.
It's true. I was being polite.
But it's fine.
So, oh, go ahead, Liam.
So obviously in line with the shady question, we've got to ask it then. So who was the funniest person this season for yous?
Hoso, I think, is probably the funniest person that we have on our cast. She just has like a wild sense of humor, and she's also very quick-witted, but she just chooses not to be like super like about it all the time. But when she gets her opportunities, she'll get some dabs in there. But like Hoso is just really like fun person to be around. She has a good sense of humor. I like that.
I think it's Jade for me.
Oh, Jade is really fucking funny.
It's Jade for me. Like there was moments like that argument that her and Jade had and Betty and Jade had got into, where she called Betty a booze hound. Like there was no way for them to keep the whole thing in the episode because it was just so long. But there was so many good moments. like there was one point where Betty's just like blah 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 blah, and Jade looks at her with a straight face. It goes, "Those sound like words today," and I was just like, and she just had like 50 of those. Like Jade was like, I don't know. She's like the comeback queen of the century.
She does. She got a whole Rolodex of them shit. She's been doing it too long. She's had to deal with a lot of bitchy queens.
Then, well, I would like to know, again, I'll do one more interesting question. Have there been any hookups this season?
Between like cast?
I think
we see some flirtations online.
Are you talking about Hoso and Astrid?
That's like, that's really like, yeah, Hoso and Astrid. But that's like so like public that it's
It's true.
Not really a secret.
And like Dolly and I are married, but like everyone knows that.
Yeah, we're television married, okay?
Yeah.
We don't go around like, what is that word? Consummating?
Yeah, we're like, we've like We're adults about it. I'm gonna be like
Yeah.
6 years
As,
married,
as
7
far as
years.
I know, ain't nobody fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So
well.
with the top four, you the caliber you all bring, I'm curious, is there something as you know, once the competition is over, is there something that you're going to look upon your fellow competitors that you're going to maybe like something that you've appreciated that you think that you could bring into your drag? Something that you've learned from your competitors or friends,
Oh.
contestants, however.
Oh, absolutely. I think just like being in a house like or like being around so many creative people for that amount of time that all have like, you know, general kind of interests, but different takes on everything. You would be missing half the experience if you didn't like learn a little and take a little bit of piece from like everybody to apply to yourself, whether it be like someone's like integrity or someone's wit or, you know, someone's, you know, ability to just be humble, or, you know, could be with their drag as well. But I mean, I think it's a missed opportunity not to do that. That's how we develop and grow.
Yeah, it definitely manifests its way in like different ways. When I filmed season 3, the supervillain challenge, when I would wear a mask, that was such a foreign thing for me, like to put a mask on. And it was one of those things that I like questioned myself about a lot. But like definitely after being on the season with like Yoska and like stuff like that, this season, like I think I'm secretly one of Dracula's like mask queens. I've
Kind of,
incorporated
yeah,
it
a
into
little
my
like undercover mask queen.
yeah, I was like some of my like more memorable looks from the show are in masks. So like
I guess you're kind of right. Yeah.
I think a quarter of my
mask queen.
a quarter of my work that's ever been on Dracula are mask looks.
Representing. Come on through, Feldman.
Right.
That's just with Feldman.
Yeah. Feldman.
So I'll have to ask then, because obviously, so we've said obviously what you've taken away from each other throughout the process. Is there anything that, looking back, that you've been surprised to learn about yourself from watching the season?
I mean, I learned about myself that I apparently am very calm and content. I don't know myself to be that way. I'm very manic, so I'm like constantly like always like fidgeting and my mind's always going. So for like so many people to be like, wow, you're just so chill and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, am I? I was like, I think everyone else is just more wild than I am.
I think for me, sometimes I guess I zone out, like, because there's like several times when I'm watching it on TV and like there was the point where Betty and Jade were arguing. I'm like looking at myself. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Because I'm just like over here in the corner.
Are you
like,
sleeping?
looking.
That's what you're sleeping with your
Yeah.
eyes open, just
Yeah, I'm just like watching myself. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Wake up. Say it. Wake up.
sometimes that's what you just gotta do to get through it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll like check in every couple of minutes or something, zone out for a bit, dissociate.
There
and
was some points where I'm
tune
just
in.
like,
I'm
girl,
like,
you're
you're
not
still
even checking
listening,
in.
back out.
With I'm also curious because obviously there's going to be a tour, but I would like to know, and just our listeners, what would we expect if we were to see you live, either of you?
Not Kyle's on Ambien. Every single time I tour, everybody will like see me and they'll be like, oh my God, like a girl, like I can't believe they said you're low energy. I'm like, me too. I guess I just missed the assignment when it came to floor shows, because I do present more like fairy tale-esque characters. And I'm just like, they're like, you could have given us more energy. I'm like, I'm a freaking angel. Did you want me to backflip out here?
Yes.
I'm like a goat with a flute. Like, what did you expect for me to do? And I like get it, because the Boulets come from a rock and roll background. Like I can it's like I signed up for their show at the end of the day. So this is like absolutely no shade to them, but they come from a rock and roll background. I don't know if you've ever seen the Boulets like perform live, but it's a very rock and roll. There's like sparks flying, there's blood everywhere, like so like I get it, but like cows on Ambien.
I'd be fine if you brought Cows and Ambient to the UK. I have my tickets, so I'm fine if you want to do it.
Oh yeah, I'm bringing the cow. Get ready.
I love that. Dali, what would a show be like if we saw you live?
A lot of my shows are very hype, overly sexualized for the wrong reasons. I don't really like to sexualize myself, but I'm starting to realize that a lot of people sexualize my drag character. So leaning into it, I guess, a little bit, for the sole fact of making other people uncomfortable.
That sounds like a fun drag show.
Yeah, it's a state of confusion, and it's a little bit of a sexual awakening. They're like, why do I like this? What's wrong with me?
Do I like clowns too?
Oh my god. True.
I purposely meant to go get candy corn and I totally forgot. I was just gonna be eating candy corn throughout this entire interview, but that was a missed opportunity.
Your poor
Has
teeth.
Liam tried candy corn yet? I heard that you
No,
you don't have it in the
we
UK.
can't get. We have. I would have to import it, and it's very expensive to try and risk importing a strange candy.
Maybe on the tour when we see you, maybe I might have like a gift for you.
Oh,
Yeah, what am I gonna do for crotch candy if I take the clown over there?
I know. I think
Harry
that's the
balls?
struggle.
We love some Tang Fastics.
What?
Some Tang Fastics.
I don't know what that is.
That sounds like hate speech. Don't talk to me like
So,
that.
anyways.
It's just a child sweet. It's fine. It's fizzy. Sour.
None of this
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense to me.
Fizzy and sweet.
Well, I don't want to because I know we're going a little bit over. So because we're a horror podcast, and I would love to know what's your favorite scary movie? That's kind of our question we do like to ask.
Okay.
You want to go first?
I feel like I just did this, but I'm like a huge like Del Toro fan. It's really hard for me to like pick a scary movie.
Okay.
I will say probably it's somewhere between like Silent Hill and like Stephen King's It, as far as like actual like really like gory horror kind of goes.
Yeah.
Those would be like my two for me. Otherwise, like I am really kind of live in like the Del Toro like universe. So that's like just what I look for in horror. Outside of that, though, the most familiar that people are with is like Silent Hill and It that I love. So anything with clowns, really.
I would have to
fair.
say the Evil Dead like franchise as a whole. Like I like the reboot, I like the old ones. My favorite is Army of Darkness, just because it's just so stupid. Like
It is.
like the whole thing, all of like the just the random nature of Evil Dead just like really just speaks to me.
I was so mad when the show got canceled, and I was happy to see your guest judge. Actually, your guest judges this season have been fantastic.
Oh yeah, they have.
Liam, do you have any final questions?
Nope. I'm all good. I asked all stuff on my list.
We are so professional here, I tell you. No, but we really do appreciate both of you coming on. I hope to see you both perform live. That's gonna be, that would be my dream.
I'll be in St. Louis this spring.
Yeah, Daniel couldn't tell us a date last night. He's like, and obviously we all just lost our shit. We're like, yes, keep bringing more Dragula monsters here. I know it's the middle of the States, but we have a good time, I promise.
Oh yeah, St. Louis gets down for sure. I haven't been there in years, but it's definitely a good time.
So, well, I just wanted to say thank you to both Saint and Dahli. It's been a pleasure, and we're looking forward to the finale. I can't wait to see the looks you all turn out. Just as long as nobody's eating a mop. Ooh. I love that bitch pudding did it, but it still grosses me out every time.
Nah, fast forward, I can't go through that. Not again. I'm traumatized still from watching it the first time.
Well, I wish you all the best for the rest of your day. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.